You're watching a special edition of Astrology Numerology Now. I'm your host, Z Starman. And on tonight's special edition of Astrology Numerology Now, I'm getting you ready for 2016 from an astrology and numerology point of view. Now, if you don't know anything about astrology, anything about numerology, I want you to keep it locked right where it is. Now, let's get started. 2016 is going to be a 9 universal year. There's 2016. If we take 2016 and we add it one digit at a time, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 6 equals the number 9. It's a 9 universal year. Now, let me tell you about what 2016 from a numerology point of view. From a numerology point of view, the 9 is the number of endings. The last time we had a number 9 universal year was 9 years ago, back in 2007. But the 9 is going to be great for Sagittarius people because Sagittarius is the 9th sign of the zodiac. And also, if your birthday is on the 9th of the month, the 18th of the month, or the 27th of the month, 2 plus 7 equals 9. Now, I notice that 9 is the number of completion, is the number of endings. So, from a numerology point of view, the world is getting ready to change. The world is getting ready to change immensely. As I've said before, 2016 will be the last time we'll have President Obama in office. So 9s, complete things. It's a year of completion for everybody. Up next, we're going to talk about Mercury Retrograde. Yes, we have to get ready for another Mercury Retrograde. Now, Mercury is going to be retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. Now, we have 4 Mercury retrogrades in 2016. And one thing for Capricorn people, this is a big year for Capricorn people. If you're a Capricorn or if you have Capricorn rising sign, it's a big year for you. Number one, because we start 2016 with a Mercury retrograde and we end 2016 with a Mercury retrograde. And this year we're having 4 Mercury retrogrades. And they're all in the sign of earth signs. So we're going to start off the year with Capricorn, or Mercury being retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. Actually, it's starting in Aquarius, at the beginning of Aquarius, and then it's going to retrograde back into the sign of Capricorn. So all you Capricorn people, get ready. It's going to be an emotional roller coaster ride for you. In the first month of January, we have Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. I remember Mercury retrograde in Earth sign, the Earth moves. I remember in 2010, 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, we had an earthquake with Mercury retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So this is a big period of readjustment for all Capricorn people and all earth sign people, especially if you're a Capricorn, you have the moon in Capricorn, or if you have Capricorn rising sign. This is a big, big year, just getting used to Mercury being retrograde. Let's show them some survival tips, control room. I'm gonna break down some survival tips for Mercury retrograde. Now, one of the things about Mercury retrograde, the do's and don'ts. You don't start anything new on a Mercury retrograde. You don't start contracts. You don't start businesses. The big thing to do is to back up your computer files. You see a list of do's and don'ts. You don't date people for the first time in a Mercury retrograde. And again, during a Mercury retrograde, Murphy's Law is in effect. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong during a Mercury retrograde. But again, this year is going to be a rocky start for the universe and for the world at large. Because again, we have a Mercury, let's show them those dates again, control room. so they don't forget. We don't want you to forget the dates. And the dates, again, are going to be from January 5th, 2016 to January 25th, 2016. Mercury retrograde is coming. There will be delays in travel. There will be delays in your mail, your computers, all kinds of crazy glitches. Now, you guys have been watching this show for the last year or last 8 years, and you should know what a Mercury retrograde is by now. And this is, again, going to be an important Mercury retrograde. It's a cosmic timeout. It's redo everything. Let's show them that graphic again, control room, if you please. It's about redoing. Any word that begins with re. Let's show them the other one. The other one with the Mercury retrograde, it's redo, rethink, replan, reschedule, reinvent yourself during a Mercury retrograde. There we go. Those are some of the key words to do during a Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is a cosmic timeout. What is a Mercury retrograde? I want everybody to understand what Mercury retrograde is. Now, Mercury retrograde, like most New Yorkers, we ride the subway. So if you're, imagine if you will, you're on the express train and it passes the local train. Let's say if you're riding on the A train and you happen to pass the C train. And sometimes the C train looks like it's moving backwards. You ever been on the subway like that? You're in the faster moving train, the express train, and you're passing the local train, and the local train looks like it's moving backwards. That's what we see when we look into the sky and we look at Mercury, and it appears to be moving backwards. It's Mercury retrograde is an illusion. The planets don't stop in their tracks and start moving backwards. It's the way the planet is orbiting and moving around the Earth. Let's say if you're in your car on the highway. Let's say if you're living in St. Louis or something like that and you don't have a subway. Let's say you're in the faster moving car that passes the slower moving car. The slower moving car looks like it's sort of kind of moving backwards as you're driving along the highway. So that's what we're seeing in the heavens as we watch Mercury, because it looks like it's moving backwards, but it isn't. Things that are happening, you're going to say, I don't believe this is happening to me during Mercury retrograde, because you know why? It's not happening. It's an illusion. It's a time to go back. I can't stress this enough, because a lot of people out there, they get depressed during the holidays. Nobody loves me. I didn't get nothing for Christmas. My dog just bit me. My wife just left me. Mercury is retrograde, and Mercury will be retrograde. Let's show them the lower third one more time, control room. Mercury will be retrograde from January 5th to January 25th, 2016. It's a cosmic timeout. A lot of people are going to want to do all these New Year's resolutions. Oh, I want to go to the gym, and I'm going to stop eating sugar, and I'm going to stop smoking, and all these things. I always say, and this is me personally, that New Year's resolutions are better at the beginning of the sign of the real astrological New Year, not the calendar New Year, when the sun is in the sign of Aries. The New Year is going to be rough. This is going to be a rough New Year. One thing about getting a reading, you have to want to be read, because sometimes I read people and they put up all these psychic blocks and spiritual blocks, and they just try to test me instead of letting me flow and you opening up to my spirit, that our spirits connect. You have to want to be read when you're getting an astrology and numerology reading. Now, if you want an astrology numerology reading, we're going to ask the control room put up the number. This is the number you're going to call. And that number is 646-389-1311. Or you can find me on Facebook or on Twitter. But the fastest way to get a hold of me is just calling me. I'm old school. I don't like texting and email and all that kind of stuff. I realize this is 2016 and I have to keep up, but the fastest and the best way to contact me is 646-389-1311. That's the number to call for real astrology and to get your 2016 astrology and numerology forecasts. Now, up next, Venus is in the sign of Sagittarius, December 30th, 2015, in a couple of days, to January 23rd, 2016. So if you're a Sagittarius, now is the time to have fun, to be happy, and this will help you survive Mercury retrograde, especially you Sagittarius people, or if you have Sagittarius rising sign. All this will help you survive the Mercury retrograde, with Venus being in the sign of Sagittarius. Venus is the sign of money and luck and all kinds of nice things. But it's going to be challenging for Virgo people because Venus in Sagittarius is on a 90-degree angle from Virgo, and Venus in Sagittarius is going to be in a 90-degree angle in Pisces. So we have two things that we have to deal with. We have to deal with the square of Venus to Jupiter in the sign of Virgo and Venus to Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So there's a lot of action happening in mutable signs. The mutable signs are the signs that change the seasons, like Gemini, like Virgo, like Sagittarius, and like Pisces. So Sagittarius people and all the other fire signs, Aries and Leo. Venus, let's show them one more time in control room. Venus is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius from December 30th, 2015 to January 23rd, 2015. Have fun, Sagittarius. But we got some other news concerning Sagittarius people. And that news is Jupiter, your ruling planet, is going retrograde also. So Jupiter will be retrograde in the sign of Virgo. See, this year we're starting off with, in the same week, Mercury is going to be retrograde and Jupiter is going to be retrograde also. And Jupiter, when it's retrograde, Jupiter retrogrades for about 4 months at a time. So if you're a Sagittarius or if you're a Virgo, because Jupiter is in the sign of Virgo, this is going to be challenging wherever you have Virgo in your astrology chart. Jupiter is going to be in the sign of Virgo. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. In old school astrology, and I'm an astrology purist, Jupiter also rules the sign of Pisces. So Jupiter is going to be retrograde again from January 7th to May 9th, 2015. So we have a lot to sort of kind of deal with the first week of 2016. The world is getting ready to change. I think there will be natural disaster somewhere, either an earthquake or a tsunami somewhere on the planet during the month of January. But Jupiter rules health. Jupiter rules health and wellness. So now, if you're not healthy, and if you're not into wellness, and if you're not into work in detail, this is a time that you should get back into it. With Jupiter being in the sign of Virgo, if you got Jupiter rising, or if you got Sagittarius rising in your chart, it's good news and bad news. Not bad news, I don't like to say bad, but challenging news. Let's show them that one more time, control room. That Jupiter graphic one more time. There we go. Jupiter is in the sign of Virgo. And Jupiter, and again, in old school astrology, Jupiter was the ruler of Pisces. So when it's in Virgo, it's sort of kind of restricted, or it's in its detriment, as the seasoned astrologers know, is that Jupiter is in its detriment in the sign of Pisces or in Virgo, and Jupiter's retrograde. So Virgo people, Mercury ruled people like Gemini and Virgo, you have your own personal challenges for 2016. So just to recap, Just to recap, one of the big things that we have to get ready for is Mercury Retrograde. Mercury Retrograde is coming January 5th to January 25th, 2016. Don't start anything new. Don't buy anything new. Back up your computer files. And you know, one thing I noticed, a lot of people always say, oh, it's Mercury Retrograde. I'm blaming on Mercury Retrograde, Mercury Retrograde. I mean, like, one of the things about Mercury Retrograde, you have to stay extra alert. And the bad things that happen are due to your own carelessness. You forgot your phone, you forgot your keys, you forgot this, you forgot that. So during a Mercury retrograde, don't blame Mercury for your own careless, stupid mistakes. Be aware, be alert in 2016, because it's going to be a time as we move down the road in 2016, you're going to have to keep your eyes open. It's a 9 universal year. It's time for endings, or it's time to graduate and to move on. And it's a strong year for people with Virgo rising. Once Virgo goes direct in May, it's a good year for Sagittarius. It's a good year for all the earth signs, Taurus, Capricorn, and Pisces, and for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, with Venus in Sagittarius during the first part of the year. But I just want to remind everybody, be mindful of Mercury retrograde. The first week of January. Let's show them one more time, control room, so we can't say they can't call me or my producer saying that you didn't warn us about Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde ahead. I like this graphic because it says beware, and we know that's not how to spell beware or retrograde or Mercury, because things get confusing during a Mercury retrograde. And again, Mercury's retrograde, January 5th to January 25th, 2016. That's about all the time we have for Astrology Numerology now. I want to thank my producer, the lovely Dietrich Kelsey, Josie and her. I love you, Jatim Moschetti, and my main man in the control room, Shavar, who's helping out on sound today, and all the men and women who have helped put this show together. I can't do it by myself. And I want to especially thank you, the viewers, and especially my friends on the BCAT channel in Brooklyn, New York. I want you to give me a call after the show. I'm going to say this. I'm not supposed to say this, but I have a special discount rate for your 2016 astrology and numerology consultation. This is the Starman, wishing you and yours a very happy and prosperous new year. Peace, love, light, namaste.